The Hickory Chronicle, our meeting.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes.
Well, we're coming up in the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
put all the other committees in there, they never put ours in
Well,
there.
she said they did.
No, when they, in the calendar for the different towns, okay? This meeting was in that calendar.
I think it has to, we have to post, by a certain time,
Right.
to get it to happen, but I'm not as concerned with that as just to follow the town rules,
Oh, I know.
That's really what I hope that we do.
Yes, well, so far so good.
Well, you do, so
Oh, I'm
don't
looking
worry.
for another pen. I gave Charlie one.
Well,
think
I
have-
forgot my pen, so I stole yours.
Do you have
Oh,
another one?
I have an extra here, take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I got one from Glenn here, okay?
So we
I got yours back.
Okay. We've got a.
Thank you.
I thought I had another one, but I don't. All right, so, we're calling to order, so Charlie, we're calling to order at 7:35.
6:35?
I mean, 6:35. There are no public people here to speak. And just to get this out of the way, we usually, Charlie has done an unbelievable job at taking minutes for us.
I'm not here 6 months of the year, so maybe you could think about taking the minutes for the next 6 months until I get back here in April. But I'll call in on the phone, or I can still do it if you don't want to do it.
No, I don't have a problem.
In terms of the minutes, I had added some things. I don't know whether you sent a revised minutes. Roseanne has suggested a new member for the committee, and I put in Glenn's name.
Well,
But we didn't talk about Glenn last meeting, did we, specifically?
No,
Right, so it shouldn't go in, the only thing that should be in the meeting, the minutes are things we actually talked about
Okay.
that day. These minutes will definitely include Glenn as our new
Okay.
member and that type
well,
of thing.
no, I was just adding that
so maybe I'll
because-
just put in that the new member, Glenn, introduced himself
Yeah,
at the meeting.
exactly, that's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, anything else besides that anybody noticed, John?
No,
I've tried to call Sean Libby 2 or 3 times. He returned my call once, and I wanted to verify that it said need to confirm what he was referring to with cost. I think he's talking about the community center, $160,000. And after the
did. He did, he was talking about the communities.
Okay,
About
then-
refurbishing and going.
Okay, then
going,
I'll take out the need to confirm and use that.
Just use that, okay.
That's okay. He never, that's all I was asking him for. And also, I put in there in the minutes that, Lincoln Hopper or somebody said that they couldn't use police cars or fire vehicles for electric vehicles, but they have a ton of green trucks that go around for the Harwich, and those are the candidates that should be, and I put that into the minutes because I thought of that afterwards, and I didn't think of it when he was here. But those are the trucks that should be made electric, and
Right.
forget about the police cars and the,
Right, I think what Sean was trying to explain is that the rules for the green communities does not require that we look at electric trucks or emergency vehicles. That doesn't mean, Charlie, that they're not available and that we shouldn't look at them, but it doesn't require them. So I think that,
well,
and I
but
think
we
what's happening.
we can't meet the 20% goal, according to him, without going with some electric vehicles.
Right, and we'll, hopefully continue to push, for that. But I think, what Sean was trying to tell us was they're not going over and above, they're just kind of going by the letter of the law, and Sean doesn't feel that worried about it because, I guess Margaret told him that it's
Margaret
okay.
Song.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't meet it,
We're supposed to have a 20% reduction in 5 years of our energy use. That's what we signed up for with this green community. And we're only got about 10% with the buildings. And we need to get the other 10% from electric vehicles, and the town seems to be reluctant to get in to purchase them.
Let's come back to that. Anything else on the minutes that we need to go over? Okay.
No.
I motion that we accept the minutes as Charlie has given them to us.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
All in favor.
Unanimous. All right, so put those to bed. Then what Charlie does with these, once we approve them, he just emails them to an email that the town provides that collects minutes.
And then they post them from that,
And then they post them from that, right? So
on
that's.
the website.
Yeah, yeah. So you could, if you wanted to, you could go to the website and look at previous minutes, you know, if that was something that you were interested in doing. All right. All right. Joe did not send me anything. One of the things he said, oh, if I can't make the meeting, I'll make sure I send you some stuff. I have nothing, you know. So I'm gonna let's skip that discussion for the time being, and let's get through the rest of this agenda. We can come back to this and talk about, you know, do I have to make another meeting to go see Joe? You know, that type of thing.
We have to persist.
We have to persist, you know,
Yeah.
and the green communities, just to remind everybody, it took us 2 times before the town meeting to get it approved. So even that was not a slam dunk, you know, it was persistence, you know.
Yeah,
So
and it
we just need-
expires, so we cannot let it expire.
So anyway, we
Okay.
so let's skip that. Update on Duck Elkin video.
Okay, well, I will tell you that this has been very frustrating. Because when I'm face to face with Jamie, she's very accommodating, and yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. The last time I spoke to her, and she was on the fly, I just happened to run into her, and she said, there are 2 videos, okay, we got 3 videos that were shown by
Like
another
the Wellfleet Energy Committee, you know, run by a man named Dick Elkin, who's very involved in energy issues.
They're
on
very
the-
well done, too.
Yeah, okay. So Jamie said that there was only one that she was willing
And that
to
was the
show.
Cape Light Compact.
Well, she wasn't sure,
Oh.
but I assumed it was probably Cape Light Compact because that was the most professionally
Right.
done.
Mhm.
Okay, and she said, this was on a Friday, she said, I'll get back to you next week so we can figure out when I'm gonna show it. And that is the last I've heard, and I have followed up with emails and I have not heard from her. So, to deal with my frustration, I went back to the person who referred me to Jamie, Dinah Lane. Dinah does a lot of interviews with Channel 18. Okay, and she's very knowledgeable, and she made a few suggestions. Because I said to her, I don't want to get you in the middle of this.
Right.
I
But
don't
need
know.
help.
I don't know what the holdup is, but it's okay. 4 suggestions. Now, post the video links on the town webpage, and then sort of a corollary to that is to work with Caleb to get the video links posted. That doesn't feel okay to me because Caleb is the one who originally sent me to Jamie.
Mhm.
Okay, and I don't.
No end
wanna-
run, you don't wanna, you know, get him in the middle either.
Right. Request assistance from Ginny Hewitt, Director, Brooks Free Library, in getting videos shown via library website.
Library website? Okay, what's the 4th one?
4th one, okay, this has less to do with the videos than with what Sean Libby said about our responsibility to educate residents of the town about Cape Light
Yep.
Compact, et cetera. Dinah can also interview a member of our committee regarding our current work, and that interview can also reference the video links. If we choose this alternative, I suggest that she interview Valerie, who has the most complete information about our current efforts.
And Maggie, given enough lead time, Maggie will come for that. I mean, she would do that too.
I
you
don't
know.
understand why this woman can't just put these
Yeah,
videos on there.
it
They're
has
all,
become
they're very well done.
Well,
A mountain of
I know.
problems.
I know, but I'm not getting any information from, I mean, she could have posted them on the web, on Channel 18, and I had no way to know.
but you haven't seen them up there.
Well, I haven't looked.
Okay. Why don't you, one more time, email or call her and say, you know, are they up? If they're not up, you know, just, you know, say, hey, I am responsible to my committee. I need to tell them something specific about why or why not, you know, why not if they're not. And so could you please specifically tell me if they're not up, why they're not up, so I can have something to tell my committee?
What
Yeah.
about something even more formal
Yeah,
and more confronting?
yeah.
Can I get an appointment with you?
Who's her
And
boss?
talk
Yeah.
with her.
I don't know who her boss is, but I didn't realize that she is based in the community center.
Mm-hmm, yeah, so,
Well, you know, I mean, I'm.
well, that's where the whole TV station
Yeah,
is.
she
Well,
has
I
her
know.
office there.
I know, and I was there last week,
Mhm.
and I passed, and I said, oh, that's Channel 18, and then I looked, and I noticed
Mhm.
Jamie walking down the hall with somebody,
Yeah.
and I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
deal
Yeah.
with that.
So,
It's just
it's a work in progress, and we need to, you know, as in all our endeavors, we just need to have some patience.
Why don't you ask her to
and-
come to the meeting and report to us why?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
That would be great.
Charlie, get your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, she won't even answer my email, so she's gonna come to a
Right.
meeting? No.
So, tangential to this discussion, not very many people look at Channel 18.
Mhm.
Not many people look at the town website. Glenn's probably the first one that's looked at it in many years. So as far as like reaching a lot of people, it doesn't. I think the whole interview thing is a good idea. And if we have to post these links on the Harwich Energy and Climate Action Committee section of the town webpage, then during the interview, we could say, please go to the town webpage.
That's
look
a
at-
great idea.
Look at our web, you know,
Simple,
look, you know.
straightforward.
You
Yeah.
know, I just remember somebody saying to me, if something or somebody is an obstacle, sometimes what you have to do is just go around them.
Right, right.
Okay,
Of course.
Yeah,
so
so-
I'm willing to give it one last try.
Give it one last try, just to give them, you know, let them do their thing. If that doesn't work, just drop that for the time being and see if you can set up an interview.
Yeah, and Dinah is wonderful.
Yeah, and just give me a couple of dates. I'll check with Maggie and see if we can get a little panel going, and we can say a lot of the same stuff that's on those videos and just direct people to the links.
The thing is
Yeah.
that the video is so well made.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
The
and-
So
guy's an
well
expert on this
Yeah.
stuff.
But be-
Why
and
she
with-
doesn't want to show it, I have no idea.
Well, neither do I.
Yeah, but, and that's, you know, and, you know, water, we just have to let that go. We will get that information to people, but we'll maybe have to do it a slightly different
Okay,
way.
and I will say that I am committed to following up with Jamie ASAP, because if she's gonna be working with Emily on election stuff as she did
Yeah,
for
she
the
won't be
primary,
available.
she won't be
Yeah.
available, right.
Yeah. So if that doesn't work out, just see what you can do about getting talk to Dinah about getting an interview,
Mhm.
and let's go
What is
that way.
Dinah's name?
Dinah Lane,
Lane?
mhm.
Okay.
And what is her title?
I don't think she has the title, but she does a lot
She
of.
works for Channel 18?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she volunteers for Channel 18. I mean,
Is there any way you can find out what the hierarchy or what the management is on Channel 18?
I can ask
Does
Dinah.
anybody have a organization chart?
well,
The
she,
web,
when you talk to
probably.
Dinah, she can give you sort of the
Yeah.
lay of the land. You know, like who's who.
Yeah, I mean, I've known her for a number of years, and she's very upfront.
Ask her for an organization chart.
Yeah. Well,
What's in these videos that you want to
Dick Elkin, who's really very knowledgeable, and he's been on the Cape Light Compact Committee for years and years. He's also head of his own energy committee up in Wellfleet. They did solarize Wellfleet, you know, so they know what they're doing.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I watched all three of them. One of them is talking about abrupt change, which we're going to experience with electric cars in the next 10 years. And he shows a picture of Manhattan in 1900, and there's one horse and buggy. I mean, there's 100 horse and buggies in one car. And then he shows the same picture of the same street in Manhattan in 1913, which is 13 years later. And there's 100 cars and one horse and buggy. And this is the kind of change we're going to have from gasoline engine to electric. And the people don't get the message here yet, because GM is going to all electric vehicles. You can't buy a gasoline vehicle after 2035. And the town is just not with it. And this guy goes in to show you how this is all going to be developed, and sets this all up for you. But they don't want to show this. They don't want this information to be
I
disseminated.
don't think it's a want or don't want. I think it is just
How
Not a
to?
priority.
It's not a priority, you know,
It's
I
a
mean.
how to.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
do you do it?
yeah, yeah, so
What are
anyway.
the steps? What is the
But are all
process?
three videos kind of the same topic?
Well,
Well,
There's-
no,
no.
one is about all these new heat pumps. There's a heat pump that'll take care of a hot water
Housing.
tank. They're for home use, for how to insulate your house and how to do all these different things that these new groundwater heat pumps
Yep.
that are gonna save energy, cause it to be used by electricity, not have to use gas and all these features that we're gonna have to develop in the next 10 years to be net zero and all this stuff. It's the whole plan for it.
The
How-
history of why we're involved is that one of, you know, as a committee, we don't have a budget, we don't have any power, you know, we don't make any decisions. We are a town advisory
We're a
committee,
squeaky bearing.
you know, and so
Yes.
basically, you know, our mission is to try to work with the town on these issues, which, you know, that's another issue. But the other thing that we sort of have taken on is to try to maybe disseminate information, you know, to get information out to the townspeople. With COVID, you know, back in the day, you know, we could have had, and we have had, like an energy fair. You know, we rented the big room at the community center. We invited all kinds of solar companies to come, and people could come and talk, you know, blah, blah,
Wow.
blah. You know,
Yeah.
and, you know, that might be something we might want to think about again, you know.
Yeah.
We could, now that people are allowed out, we could maybe, after the interview, maybe we develop like a series, you know, where people can come and have a little, like, I still think people are gonna need to understand their electric bill more than ever, because it's gonna double in January. So whatever you're paying, I know you don't pay anything, but,
What do you mean,
uh,
understand? I understand my bill.
yeah, but most
But
people
you-
have no clue.
And you've been talking about this for a while,
Yeah.
educating people about
Yeah.
how to read their electric. bill.
Right.
Well,
So-
I have one question.
Yeah.
Delivery. Delivery is going up like this.
Oh, yeah, and it's gonna.
So what is the value or the cost of a battery to stay away from the delivery?
So where you're talking go off grid, and, you know,
Yeah.
that's an option, you
Yeah.
know, but that's not an option for everybody, because that's a pricey option at this moment in time. And I'm not saying that in the future this will. At this moment in time, unless you have a good amount of money to sink into a battery system, that's not something that the average person in Harwich is ever going to be able to do in the near
Okay.
future. So anyway, so we're trying to come up with ways to connect with the community and help them to understand energy, and in the process also talk a little bit about climate change, you know, and why are we doing this? Why is it so important that we move away from fossil fuels and try to get electric cars and
Right.
try to do these kinds of things? And so anyway,
Also, Charlie mentioned one of the videos, the one on heat pumps. There's one on that Cape Light Compact actually put together, and then there's one on electric vehicles.
the Cape Light Compact one, I think, is on their website too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go to their website. Are you familiar with Cape Light Compact?
I'm not, but am I to assume in this article when they talk about the Cape and Vineyard Electric Co-op? is
No,
that-
that's CVAC.
That's totally different.
That's related but different. Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute, okay?
To give you a list of acronyms.
Yeah. This is a government organization, so we have to have our acronym.
I would like to hear from you, what's the cost of delivering that allows Eversource to?
Poles and wires.
Well, with delivery, I believe you, and I haven't looked, my wife pays the electric bill, so I don't even look at it anymore. But I'm assuming if it's like the old days, generation and the utilities are begging for people to understand this, because they're the ones who are getting clobbered all the time, even though they have no control over it. So as far as generation goes, Eversource doesn't have any generation to speak of in Connecticut or Massachusetts. New Hampshire, they still own some, but generally speaking, they pass along the cost of the generation from all these other independent companies that generate the electricity. They don't have any skin in the game, they just pass along the cost. So whatever you pay for generation, they're not making any money off from. It's another smaller company that's making the electricity that they're getting paid for the electricity that they have. And then when you look at poles and wires, you've got two different, and different utilities will argue on this, but we essentially got two different parts of the company. You've got distribution side, so when you look at all the wires on your street, all the wires that come to your house, that's distribution. So there's lower voltages, it's just, you know, it's kind of like UPS delivering electricity, you know, same thing. They're just delivering that electricity to your door. And then transmission, which is, you'll see the big right-of-way that might run right down along the bike paths and whatnot in the back.
The high voltage area.
That's what people, that's really what the grid is. It's high voltage electricity. That's what's distributing it out to the Cape, is all the energy that comes from the power plants. And then everything gets sucked off from that to provide electricity to you and your home. So transmission is regulated by FERC, which is the United States government, not the state government, so that they can make a certain amount of money off, you know, they're guaranteed, I don't know, it's 11, 12, 13%, so whatever it is, so whatever money they put into building that transmission grid, the utilities are allowed to make money on that. And
What's that
that's
called?
very highly regulated. And then distribution, the cost of distribution is gonna be for the people that you see coming out to reply to storms, putting up the poles and the wires on the streets, maintaining that, the fleets of trucks that you see out there, the gasoline, diesel for those trucks. That kind of stuff is the distribution part of it. Now, Eversource decided that they were gonna put distribution and transmission together as far as the organization of the company goes, but they're kind of separate as far as where the costs come from, so.
Which has nothing to do with the actual electricity,
Exactly.
Of course.
They're
which
just
is,
delivered.
which is
Yeah.
that's the generator.
Yeah,
The
that's,
problem that's gonna come most electricity contracts are 6-month contracts. Like, for example, Cape Light Compact is an aggregator. And it is, you know, Massachusetts had, you know, made it so it was possible many years ago for, when they deregulated.
Yeah.
And so Cape Light Compact is run by the 15 towns on Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard. And all the towns get together and they say, we're gonna buy electricity in bulk as a unit. All right, so, and the organization that is going to administer this, because obviously the towns don't want to administer this, was Cape Light Compact. So they formed this organization, it's a nonprofit, Cape Light Compact, that does all the legwork for the towns to aggregate electricity. And so every 6 months, Cape Light Compact goes out to bid to the people that generate electricity. So let's leave transmission and all that aside for the time being. So, you know, they meet with various companies, you know, and various companies pitch their rates to Cape Light Compact, and then Cape Light Compact chooses a provider, and then for that 6 months, the length of that contract, you know, that's a fixed rate. So whatever they've come to agree upon, that's what we're going to pay for the next 6 months.
and you're saying in January,
In January,
30% you said?
maybe 50%. We're.
I read
yeah.
that that electricity is going to go up 64%.
I think it depends on where you are, but on average, let's say it's you know, it's going to be up. Now, this is not just Cape Light Compact. I mean, this is across the board.
You just mean
The
the
US.
Generation.
The distribution part is going up.
Everything's going up, including generation. That's the problem.
The generation
Yeah.
part that's going up,
Yeah.
if you look across the country, your biggest generator of electricity now is natural gas. You still have 100 and something nuclear plants out there, and you got all your solar.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
But natural gas
Yeah.
is
That's
what is
right.
the biggest chunk,
Right.
and that is skyrocketing.
That's
with
skyrocketing.
What's going on?
Yeah, so it's
The war,
it's not that the electric generating companies have decided to fleece the American public. I mean,
Yeah.
you might find a little bit of that in there, but
I'm sure
they have
there's
to
a
pay their
little
gas
bit.
bill, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
what's going to kick us in the butt come January.
Yeah.
And it's going to be extremely difficult. Another thing I thought of that, you know, and again, I stop work October 31st, so I'll be able to do a lot more, you know, after that. But we were told by Eversource that they have a program for low-income people to help them with their electricity bills. Very underutilized. Almost nobody applies. So, you know, this might be a time to get people to make sure they have that contact.
That's the kind of thing we
Yeah.
should advertise,
Yeah.
because that would
Right, I think the
make us visible.
Yeah, the community center has already, I think, said a little bit about it, but I think we need to, you know,
what
maybe
is
that
the-
goes on our
What is the
website.
income level criteria?
Yeah.
Maybe there's nobody on Cape Cod that
That's-
meets
Oh, no,
it.
there's plenty of people that, yeah, I mean, maybe the people sitting at this table, you know, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
mine's
you're
included in
colluded,
my
you know,
rate.
so you don't have to worry about it,
Right.
but, a lot of times it's people who are on Medicaid, or receive like disability insurance, or, I mean, there's criteria, but sometimes it can be just straight income, you know, but anyway, so the point being, is that would be something that we could also see if we could, you know, get a flyer out, or maybe,
Absolutely,
you know,
Valerie,
say,
that's
you know,
terrific.
Yeah.
and make sure that, and I have all that information at home. I'll send it out to you guys, and
Okay.
then you guys can think about
Okay.
how would we do this, you know?
Yeah.
There's a ton of information for low-income people, not just what
Right.
you're talking about heat pumps, about,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
just, you know.
Yeah, Cape Light
mo-
Compact has a whole section on their website,
Right.
that's addressing this as well, because they're getting ready to get a lot of phone calls,
Yeah.
because,
You know, maybe they ought to have a little PR thing and say, however, in 2 or 3 years, when all these wind turbines off of Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard are operational, we're gonna make it go back down again to 50%, because we're gonna
well, we
have all
can't
this.
guarantee that.
Well, no, but we're not gonna be using gas, so we want,
Right, right.
it says it's
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
website says they're gonna handle 300,000 homes. Why don't they use that as an advantage and say, it's only a temporary
Well, I
rise?
think
Yeah.
it's only, I
Some
think most
relief.
people understand that this is probably temporary, that come June, rates go down in June anyway, for the most part, and so we will see a reduction regardless, I mean, unless, you know, Putin drops a nuclear bomb somewhere or something, then all
Yeah.
bets
We
are
don't
off.
have to worry.
You know,
Yeah.
then what we pay for electricity will be the least of our problems.
Yeah, yeah.
But assuming that the world doesn't go to hell in a handbasket, I mean, we will see a reduction in June. But anyway, so,
But maybe
Cape Light
they ought to
Compact.
look out and see,
Yeah.
we are talking about these wind turbines being out there and
Yep, yep,
generating
they're starting to-
600,000 megawatts.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
can't they say this is only a temporary rise?
right,
Help their PR.
yeah, well, I think, you know, don't count your chickens is the name of the game.
Yeah.
We don't have a turbine in the water yet. I think they will start to reference the turbines more aggressively as that project is more visible and underway,
Now, Cape Light Compact,
the aggregator.
when they buy electricity,
Mhm.
are you mandated to buy a portfolio that's 20% renewable?
The good news about Cape Light Compact is they're very aggressive on renewables. And at this moment in time, for the last 2 contracts, we have contracted with NextEra,
Mhm.
and NextEra has 100% green.
Yep.
So we have had that for a while. Now, that's 100% green, sort of in sort of a nebulous out there
Yeah.
kind of way. And so what Cape Light Compact did is that if you can afford it and you're willing to pay a couple of cents more per kilowatt, they have what's called local green, and they make sure that they are that NextEra is support, because what it actually means is that we give NextEra collects money from their users,
Yeah.
and they take some of that money and they build solar plants, you know, maybe they do wind turbines somewhere. I mean, they invested in renewable energy. But it could be in Texas, it could be in California, it could, you know, wherever NextEra is. For a couple of cents more, we have what's called local green, and so NextEra will carve out some of that money to support New England-based renewables.
But the Cape Light Compact, what percentage of it is renewable? Is it all renewable?
All renewable, 100%.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And that wasn't always so. I mean, it took
Yeah.
Cape Light Compact a while to sort of, 2 things had to happen. Companies that produce electricity had to start getting it from green sources,
Yep.
because in order for you to buy it, it had to be made in the first place. And then we had to find a company that had access to it, you know, and still come in a few cents under Eversource.
And what is the interaction of the compact and Eversource?
Okay, so we buy electricity, we buy the electrons from NextEra.
Mm-hmm.
And then NextEra sends the electricity through the wires and the transmissions that
Of
is owned
Eversource.
by Eversource,
Okay,
right? So, because you
Okay.
have to get it to your house somehow,
yeah.
and they own the wires and the substations and all of that, and so that's how it gets to us.
And who are the customers of Cape Light Compact? Are they the towns themselves?
They're-
So the town of
both.
Harwich would buy electricity from Cape Light Compact
Right.
if they needed to. So right now, you've got the solar farm that's
Mhm,
down here
mhm.
at the transfer station, and that provides us a large amount of electricity
Yep.
for the town.
Yep.
Do we still have to buy additional electricity, or? is
I don't think we're at zero yet, but we're very, very close.
Okay, but,
Yeah.
so what little bit we need,
Right.
we buy from Cape Light Compact.
But we also, Cape Light Compact also provides electricity for residents. If you look
Yeah.
at your bill, I
I
bet
see.
somewhere on there it says Cape
So-
Light
so-
Compact.
So you can
Yeah.
choose them as a provider.
Right,
of
they,
electricity.
Cape Light Compact is the default provider. So if you start a new service, you will on Cape Cod, you will automatically be put into Cape Light Compact.
Really?
Yeah, it's a default provider.
Wow.
You can absolutely choose any
Yeah, that's the
provider you
regulation.
want, you know.
That's
But we are the default provider for Cape Light Compact, for the Cape and Islands. But what we have found has happened in the past is, let's suppose I don't know much about it, so I get a phone call from, some electricity company saying, hey, we've got great rates. Give me your account number, and I'll switch you right over to a much better rate. And so, I don't know, okay, sounds good. And so you switch over, you don't like it because that really, really good rate, well, they neglected to tell you in the fine print it was only for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it jumped way up. And so in a panic, Cape Light Compact gets these phone calls on a regular basis. In a panic, they call Cape Light Compact, oh, I went with this other company and now my rates are so high. And so Cape Light Compact will switch you back
Wow.
without any penalties or anything like that. If you even know. What happens a lot of times is the people just keep getting these bills and they just keep paying them.
And that's
But
what people bet on, companies bet
yeah,
on.
yeah, and they don't even think about, what happened, that type of thing. So it's Cape Light Compact provides electricity, but they provide a huge amount of community service. I mean,
And the electricity that's made at the transfer station down there, do we sell that electricity to Eversource or to Cape Light?
Eversource.
We sell it to Eversource,
Yep.
so they pay us for however
Exactly.
many kilowatt
Yep.
hours
Yep.
we provide.
Yep.
And we don't get all that money, somebody else.
Well, we
You
get
know,
we
and-
get a lot of it. I mean, if you go on our website, there's a lot of money.
I cranked the numbers
Yeah, yeah.
from the news article,
Yeah.
and it said that we were
Yeah.
paid for 2019 $441,000.
Yeah.
But then the remainder was $166,000, which I'm guessing might be, some of that goes to the people that Cape
The
and
old-
Electric Co-op.
yes, yes,
So they
who
cut
built
some
it,
of
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but we get the sizable share of it to the town.
Every year.
Okay.
And so the Cape Light Compact was the original electricity aggregator. If you are an electric customer on the Cape, hopefully you are part of Cape Light Compact.
All right.
Cape Light Compact is also our Mass Save. You heard of Mass Save? Cape Light Compact is the Cape Cod version of that. So if you need an energy audit or something like that, Massachusetts also allowed a mill adder to our electric bills. So if you look on your electric bill, you'll find a little thing that goes to energy efficiency, and the state sends all of that to Cape Light Compact, and it's several millions of dollars a year, that they get for that, and that's how they can offer you an energy audit for free, how they can subsidize your insulation, that type of thing. So, and that was one of the requirements that the state made for electric aggregators who also were going to do this energy efficiency. They had very strict criteria for that. And so anyway, so that's what Cape Light Compact did. As Cape Light Compact existed over time, it became evident that the towns were interested in doing renewable energy projects, things like solar panels, wind turbines, that type of thing. But the towns didn't have the expertise, nor did they have the money to pursue any of this. And so as a spin-off organization from Cape Light Compact was the Cape and Vineyard Electric Co-op. They're a very, very different organization, but they got seed money from Cape Light Compact. So they're currently totally separate now. They're nothing connected.
And now they're looking to get a fraction of the money from the generation, just a penny or two, whatever it is.
Right.
As they help support the building of new projects.
Because if you think about it, that plant that we have, that solar farm that we have out on the landfill, nobody in the town needed to organize that, needed to schedule contractors, needed to do any of the work to put that up. CVEC handled all of that.
How much money is Civic making out of that?
Well, I don't know the amount.
To be honest with you, they're not making any money on our farm because they didn't start writing that into the contracts until a little bit later when they finally realized how much work they were doing.
But we probably paid them up front to help us with building the farm.
No.
Not at all.
No, at that time, they weren't doing
So
that.
who is funding?
They would charge the companies, so like a finder's fee, because CVEC is just a middleman. I mean, they don't actually build these things. I mean, they go out and they get the town says, we want a solar farm on the landfill. CVEC goes and vets contractors who are interested in building these.
And they do all the permitting.
They do all the permitting and the licensing.
Turn it over to the town.
Yeah, and we don't run it yet. We will run it in like 25 years. It will, because it technically belongs not to the town of Harwich. It belongs to the company that built it.
How come?
Because we didn't pay for it.
It's the agreement in the contract. You can do contracts any different way, but
We
that's
didn't
the
pay
way
a
it's done.
penny for that thing, so it's not, people are not going to give you a solar farm
okay,
for
so
free.
that company gets paid with the Shreks.
Exactly.
Oh, I
Exactly.
see.
With what?
To the
Recs.
Oh, okay.
What is
The
the?
renewable energy credits
Right,
and,
yeah.
and tax and depreciation and tax benefits and so
Okay.
these
And CVEC wants to get paid in the same way
well
also.
what has happened is CVEC is doing all the administration of these things
I see.
and and so the towns really do need to kind of compensate CVEC because if CVEC wasn't managing these projects it would have to be somebody in the town hall.
Right.
Which means they probably have to hire somebody to do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Forget about that. So that's kind of what CVEC has.
Yeah, I have had a hell of a time understanding CVEC finances. They are very fussy.
Well, they're kind of an odd duck, when it comes to.
No wonder I have struggled so much.
Well, it says here that
Yeah.
for new projects, that they want to get paid a quarter of a cent. So a quarter of
Per
a penny
kilowatt, yeah.
per kilowatt
Yeah.
hour for all the new projects that they would help.
Right.
coordinate.
Because they ended up having some financial difficulty because they were putting all of this out there
Yeah.
and not really getting anything. And they do have remember the woman that came and spoke to us? She's a paid staff,
Oh, absolutely.
so somebody has to pay these poor people.
So who makes-
Absolutely,
Who
yeah.
makes the decision in town on where they're buying their power? Is it the
They
city
leave it up to,
manager?
they leave it up to Cape Light Compact.
Okay, so there's no decisions made by the town
No,
manager or
no.
selectmen, nothing at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we've agreed to go in with Cape Lake Compact?
I'm
And
the
all-
town-
And all 15 towns?
All 15 towns have a
Agreed to do that.
representative. I represent Harwich. I go to a meeting every month, and we talk about Cape Light Compact things.
So
And-
every town on the Cape is all 100% renewable?
Yep.
It's impressive.
Yeah. And we are, and every town is doing projects like our dump
Yep.
solar farm, and so we're shrinking even the amount of, from the municipal end. We're not talking about residential end, but from the
Right.
municipal end, we're shrinking our footprint. Now, we decided to bump up the ante, and we went to be a green community. I'll leave you to look that up, and you can look it up online as to what the requirements. And we promised to do these things, and we were accepted. And what the state of Massachusetts has done is if you became a green community, which means you agreed to reduce your energy by about 20% over 5 years, they opened up this big pot of money that wasn't available to anybody else.
And we're trying to meet that goal of 20%.
Right, so we've already used a lot of the money. So what we did is we had big pieces of equipment like
Boilers.
the boilers and things like that. And so what we've done is using this big pot of money, we have replaced everything with ultra-high efficiency gas equipment. And we discussed this with Sean Libby, he's our facilities manager, and he said that here's the thing, here's the rub. It'd be great to have heat pumps, but we have already invested in ultra-high efficiency gas equipment with an average lifespan of about 20 years.
Wow.
So the town is
Yeah,
not
I can
interested-
read it right out of
Yeah,
the thing, yeah, the
yeah.
last minute.
Yeah.
For example, the VRF to reduct the whole building in the community center will cost $160,952. 2/3 of the cost is covered by the state. And the VRF is a variable refrigerant flow, HVAC systems, consist of outdoor units connected to multiple indoor units via refrigerant pipe to provide cooling and heating to individual zones. So that's what this is, and this is all,
So the bottom line is, we're not replacing that equipment anytime soon, because it would not make economic sense.
you see, it is very difficult and expensive to justify changing out a gas-fired boiler heating system for a heat pump, and all the existing infrastructure does not make this easy. That's what the whole,
Yeah.
So right now, your charge to reduce by 20% is more difficult because you've already
The
made
buildings
a
are
big
done.
change for the building.
Yeah.
Right.
So the only place that you can pick up that extra 10% is
Vehicles.
little nickels and dimes here and there.
or electric vehicles.
Or
if you-
well,
Right, right.
yeah, electric vehicles.
And other things,
And other things.
so
Okay.
we're working on it. So Cape Light Compact, aggregator, like, all
Learned a
15
lot.
towns.
That's
Yeah.
great.
CVAC, a spin-off from there in order to promote and facilitate the building of renewable energy projects for the towns. It's only municipal, right? It has nothing to do with individual
Gotcha.
solar panels and stuff like that. So that's our CVAC. Now, we currently do not have a CVAC rep. Jacqueline, you were going to look into doing that, becoming the CVAC rep. Have you pursued that any further?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And I was told that they need to wait for more candidates
Oh, okay.
to
Sheesh.
comply with the law.
Got it. All right.
Jeez.
Would you be interested in being a CVAC representative?
I would.
Okay, so what you need to do, I don't know if I have any more applications here, because it's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, you would be great
uh,
for that position, Glenn. Absolutely great.
What did your husband apply for?
He doesn't want to do it,
Oh, okay.
so I just said, forget it.
Okay.
You know.
No,
So they want to create competition even though it's vacant.
Well, I don't know, I think they
Well,
have to. Here you
Larry
go.
Valentine told me that they
And
needed to
if it's
comply with
not
the
listed
law.
on there, just write CVAC at the bottom and turn that into the,
Yeah. You make an appointment with Ellen Powell, who is the secretary.
Okay, so this is a representative for the town of Harwich.
Yes.
Right.
With CVAC.
but they only meet like
Right.
twice a year or something like that, so it's.
Well, no, they meet quarterly.
Oh, quarterly,
and,
quarterly.
And they haven't, but I mean.
It's not hard, you know.
No, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
It's
But it
man
would
up.
be
and-
great to have somebody from this committee
Yeah.
on it, so
And
that
with
we
your
can
kind of
stay abreast.
background.
Yeah,
No, I'd be happy with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and 7503, I think, is the telephone number of Ellen. 430
And sell yourself, tell them all your background you have, that you'll know all about this stuff.
Well,
And don't let them ask that we need more candidates.
Yeah.
So you'll never get another better one, so.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Sell yourself if you have to.
Oh, I'm sure you will get it.
Yeah.
I'm sure
So
you
anyway,
will
so it
get
would be very, and you would learn a whole lot about,
Who's Ellen? Is she the first elected?
she's a secretary.
Administrative
Yeah, that's your first step.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get
but
past
you gotta
her.
get past her first.
Yeah.
She's very nice.
Well, I met with
She's
the
very-
first selectman and.
Yep,
and
yep.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
heard my spiel, so.
Yeah, good. So they'll be happy that we're recommending
sure,
you
sure.
give it a shot. All right, green communities, I haven't heard anything new from Sean.
Okay.
So,
I
let's,
just-
yeah.
since I
yep,
wasn't
yep,
here, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. It has to
Okay.
be here to discuss it, so.
Yeah, okay.
So that pretty much does that, so let's continue forging ahead.
Have you tried to get in touch with him, or is he
Well,
just?
I have, to what end? I mean, I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss with him until we can talk to Joe Powers about these grants for the charging station.
So should we take that off of the
Yeah, we don't
agenda?
need to talk to Sean anymore for the time being, all right,
So what should I put down for this, Sean, Green, nothing? Or
yeah, just no new report,
No further follow-up.
no further follow-up for Sean at this point, at this
Yeah.
time. You know, we can circle back to that another time.
But I wouldn't close the door.
No.
See, I think we
Alright.
need to do this
Leave it open.
electric vehicle business with Joe Powers and see why
We're-
all those
Look how
green,
long it took us to get Sean Libby here.
all those green trucks.
gonna take a
at
while
least-
for me to get
At least
Joe.
2 of the green trucks ought to be electric vehicles for the next budget. They got 100 of them.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it, Charlie, you know, patience. Did you all get this about the town report? I should have printed more.
I don't think I got that.
Maybe they just sent it to me. But anyway, so here's the deal.
We're looking at new business now, right?
Yeah, we're on to new business, and this is the preparation for annual report to Board of Selectmen, which we have to do October 24th.
Do we need to be at
You don't
that
need to be
meeting?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, certainly,
We'll
welcome
watch
to be
you-
there,
We'll
but.
watch you from home.
Yeah. You're certainly welcome to be there, you don't have to be there. So I have to do a brief highlight of the year. I have to list the committee members. I have to say who's the chair, vice chair, et cetera. I think we have 2 vice chairs. Is that how we decided to do it? Or we-
No.
Oh, Jackie's the vice chair, and you're
The agenda person.
agenda. We have a new position.
Just split the
Okay.
So,
responsibility.
what are you going to emphasize during that
Let
report?
me just go through the list. Are you posting agendas and minutes? Yes. Are your members sworn in? Yeah, well, they will be. Glenn, also, are you familiar with the state ethics training
Yeah,
program?
I have to take a
Yeah,
computer training
yeah,
class, done that many times.
Yeah, you know, it's
Fine.
every
Everybody-
2 years, everybody has to do it, so. And this year, we even got sent to remedial open meeting law school.
All right.
Yeah. Does your committee charge need reviewing, updating? Well, they just did that. What does your committee need?
Money.
Money.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
And why don't we get a budget?
We need
Like, let's
grants.
say, couple
We need someone to
$100,000,
work.
couple
We
$100,000
need
budget.
Joe Powers to get money for us through grants.
Okay, I think what they want to know what we need, not what the town needs. So
Oh.
to run this committee,
Oh, I see.
you know, I don't think we need money. I mean, we do not produce anything, you know. Now, I
Yeah, we
think that
don't
if we
need money.
decided
We could
to,
put an ad in the Chronicle and tell people to look at those Zoom things if they won't put it on Channel
Yeah.
18.
well, I mean, that's something we can talk about is if we did want to do outreach, would there be support from the town for us to put an ad in the paper? Would there be support from the town
Flyers
to
to
do
create.
flyers, like if we had to get something run off at Staples or something? I mean, so, you know, that's something.
This Dick Elkin person,
Yes,
I know politics gets people riled up, but you would be overstepping our bounds if you had somebody like that come and talk at the
No,
high
no.
school or talk at the
No.
local library.
no, he's done
Yeah.
it before.
Yeah.
You know, he is from Wellfleet, I mean, but
He's
he
not
could
in our
definitely,
You know, I understand that.
he could definitely, we could sponsor him as a speaker, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, yes,
I don't know if
he could do
there's
it. He's good. He's a
He's
nice
terrific.
guy, you know.
He's
and,
terrific.
I've known him for years, and he's. You know,
You
he's
should
really
watch his videos.
Yeah.
I'll send you the links.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so back up to the first thing, the most important thing is highlights of the year. I think one of the let's just kind of, so I have to put together a report. So I think one of the highlights for me is seeing the committee rebuild, you know, getting new members. So that's good. And when they sent Glenn, you know, the sort of the charge and all of that, we're supposed to be on 3-year terms. I think
Yeah, it's
for
okay.
me, this is like year 15, you know,
I
so,
only
From mine, it
got
said
a
the
one-year appointment.
yeah, I mean, everybody's appointed every year.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an annual appointment,
Oh.
so you'll get the letter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mine said till the 2025.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
See, he got 2025, and I got 2023.
He's a new member, though.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
not,
I'm
But
a
she's
new
new too.
member.
yeah, but wasn't Barry, or maybe there's certain thing that
Anyway,
Barry Worth had a certain term,
I'll
and
try
maybe
to
you're
ferret
filling
out
up.
that information, because one of the things is, at some point when we feel confident in what we're doing, I'm gonna have to rotate out, if, to kind of, because I don't wanna get, the open meeting law or whoever those people are, coming
Yeah.
down on me,
Yeah, I mean, when I was on the cultural
Yeah.
council, Tina had to move out of being the chair
Mm.
after 2 terms.
But I think I have to rotate out of the whole committee. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think,
Well, she actually rotated out of the whole committee.
yeah.
yeah.
So
You mean
anyway.
There's some kind of rule about that?
Yeah, if you look at, our charge, it tells what, each of us have a limited tenure, and you've been here more than 3 years too, so.
I've been here since 2015. I
Right,
think.
so I mean, there's a couple of us that, and to be honest with you, the previous members of this committee were also here for like 20 years. So I don't think anybody is counting years,
No,
but if we wanted to run the committee a little more
dynamically.
officially, then I think we need to start thinking about,
We latch on to members permanently, so we can't afford to lose any.
yeah, anyway, so.
Well, I think it's just been hard because it's been such a small
Right,
committee.
and I think it said we were 5 people, I think on the letter that they sent you. Do you have that letter that they sent you? So they sent me it too, but I didn't make a copy of it. But they have the charge? Not you.
Your term will expire on June 30th, 2025. You sign the letter, bring it with you to the town clerk's
Yeah.
office to be sworn in.
But they sent you another thing, another document that says it was our charge, where they tell you what we're supposed to be doing.
Here, there's like
Yeah,
5 or 6
yeah.
different.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
It's
You see
like
that,
Mission statement.
yeah. Oh, yeah, the committee consists of 5 members, which we are now. So they consider this a
Wow.
full committee.
Wow.
We could have 2 alternates, if we wanted them, appointed by the board for overlapping 3-year terms. The committee is advisory to the Board of Selectmen, blah, blah, blah. So technically, we all are supposed to have 3-year terms. Now, they have been renewing all of our terms, like every year. They know I've been here forever, and they renew it every year, so
Yeah,
I still get the
everybody
letter.
knows you.
But
Yeah.
my letter specifically stated June.
Yeah, you'll get another letter.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but.
All right, so one of our accomplishments is new members. Another accomplishment is we've how do I say it? We've met with town officials and have been studying our energy.
We have initiated a relationship, or attempted to initiate a relationship with town key people.
Meeting
that-
with.
Yeah, like Sean Libby.
Key town officials.
So.
Can you say hope to continue implementing it? So that open the door?
Yeah,
Well,
to
we're
review,
strengthening our relationship with
strengthening.
town government.
And I understand, I don't know if I'm right, that Julie Kavanaugh is
Yeah.
supposed to be the liaison.
Right, and I
Between
thought
us
an evening
and-
meeting, she'd be here.
I thought you'd be
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to mention that, so
Yeah.
that hopefully she will make the effort to
And
attend.
she came a couple of times, but then she seemed to have lost interest.
Once,
Well,
once.
once or twice, but she said, I don't have to be at every meeting.
Yeah, we know that. We
Yeah,
know that.
but
That's
I
okay.
thought she would be here.
Yeah, because remember, she always sort of admonished us a little bit for meeting at 3:00 in the afternoon,
Mhm.
and she said, I work and I can't be here.
Mhm.
I thought she'd be here tonight, but, okay.
But emphasize that, because we are like, I don't know the expression in English, but we need the support and the presence of someone from the town,
Yeah,
because we work for the town.
yeah. So anyway, so we've met with key people in the town to review and look at our energy accomplishments and needs for the future.
And could you mention the fact that our green rights are jeopardized unless we take action, and mention a couple of things?
Yeah, and that we may not meet our goals.
Like I have suggested that we start the process of installing solar panels on the roofs. My dream was all public buildings, but start with Brooks and the community center.
But wasn't that talked about previously, the having solar?
Yeah,
panels?
the initial discussion on the community center, we did not have, not my words, we didn't have the right orientation on
Well,
that roof.
that cannot be true because
About-
there are many orientations on
Yeah.
that roof.
But-
Maybe one side is bad, but
Yeah.
not everything is bad.
Right, so anyway,
So that is
I
an
think
excuse.
they don't want to, they're kind of wanting us to say what we've done.
Maybe you would be able to calculate, or you, Charlie, if, let's say, we were to install 50 solar panels.
But here's the problem, back up. You have to stop thinking about installing panels on any more municipal buildings. We
Right.
are maxed out. We are not, remember, we can't be an electricity generator.
Right.
And what happens is, if we put too many more, we're
But-
this close to maxing out on what we can generate,
Is that because of state regs?
yes.
But
And
they-
it's also because Eversource does not want to have to pay us for electricity.
But
And the deregulation specifically prohibits towns from becoming generators. A couple of towns like Hull, they had a pre-existing municipal power plant, and they were grandfathered in, and they do make their own electricity. But we can't do that.
But didn't we talked about alternatives, didn't we?
One of the, so I think what we have to start focusing on is not municipal. Municipal is covered, except for the EV, because we need to meet our green community stuff. We need to start looking at how do we help residents? Because that's really where the big, we have
There's a
a,
bullet point right there
Yeah.
for you, so.
There's a, oh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Well, looking at ways to
right.
Help
And we did
residents.
talk
As opposed to-
briefly about community solar, which I would like to see happen here. In order to get our green community designation, we had to, through town meeting, we had to get a piece of property, town property in Harwich, designated as by right siting, which means that it is carved out specifically for renewable energy project. And it is going to, and it will have expedited permitting. So if a business, if a company comes to Harwich and says, I'd like to build a solar farm, not for the town, but I'd like to build a solar farm, and I'll give the electricity cheap to the town, I just need the RECs and the depreciation and all of that kind of stuff, then one of the models that is being used elsewhere is for that farm to allow people to subscribe to it. Like, let's suppose you live in a condo and you pay your own electricity. You probably can't put up a solar panel because you live in a condo. And unless the whole condo decides to do it, you're out of luck. Or you rent, or you just can't do it. You can't have a solar panel. You could sign up with this company, and they would credit you with some of that electricity, and it would reduce your bill, without you actually having to put up a solar panel.
That's a dream project.
Yeah.
What happened to that? We did have a piece of land, was either near the dump or.
We still have it, it's not
Yeah.
been used.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we find out when they're gonna use it?
We're not, the town is not gonna use it. It's not for the town, it's for a private company to come in and do
Well,
something.
maybe we should see if we can get something.
Well, CVAC was working on that, but COVID happened and a lot of things happened, and remember she told us that they kind of put a
Yeah.
stop on some projects and
Yeah.
things, and they're sort of having a rebuilding
Right.
moment. So I think that once CVAC gets their feet on the ground and they start putting our, getting ready to do new projects, we can approach them and say, find us a company.
There was a
So-
hold on all new solar projects apparently through CVEC because of, well, there was
Supply
some,
chain issues,
there was
all
some
kinds of
problems.
stuff, yeah.
in Yarmouth where they had a lot of these,
CVAC had nothing to do with that.
oh,
All right, that was that was not CVAC.
they contracted out to some guy that went bankrupt, and a lot of people lost a lot of money when they're trying to push
That
their
was a
solar.
solarized Yarmouth. That was only for residential. CVAC had nothing to do with it, but,
They got a
but the-
bad rep.
But the contractor that they used was recommended by the state of Massachusetts, so that, it wasn't like Yarmouth pulled this guy out of a hat. I mean, they were given a list of contractors, they
How
picked one.
dangerous, huh?
Yeah,
How dangerous.
yeah.
So-
To get someone recommended
That's
by
it.
the state and
Right, well,
it's,
yeah.
it's,
You
Back
can't-
to your
yeah.
annual report.
Anyway, so, we're gonna try to figure out ways to help residents access, renewable
farms.
energy, even if they can't have a solar panel. We've talked about community solar. Anything else? Doesn't have to be long, and obviously I'm gonna send you all a copy of it, and so you can, when I rate it.
What are you gonna say about electric vehicles? Nothing?
I'm gonna say that we are, one of the things I wanna emphasize is that, we have done a wonderful job with upgrading, the heating and, HVAC units in our town buildings. They're very efficient. Good for us. But we're still not, doesn't look like we're gonna meet our green community goals. So we're trying to spearhead, a program to get more, electric
Charging
vehicles and charging stations in the town. And there should be a ton of money out there. I mean, we have this
This is
federal
the
green
time.
energy bill that passed, and we have the state green energy bill that passed.
Right.
So there's money floating around out there somewhere, we just gotta find it. And,
Yeah, we need someone to request the money, right?
If it's a
Well,
town
it-
project, we can't request it has to be the town. And
And
so
that's
they're telling
why-
us, and so Joe's saying he doesn't have anybody that could write these grants. So he was thinking that maybe we could look at it, and that's what he was supposed to do, but he was supposed to send me this stuff, but
Thank you,
anyway,
Jen.
I'll check in with him.
Thank you.
Remember, it took us look how many months it took us to
Well,
get
give us
Sean.
the paperwork to set up the grants, tell us what the number is, and give us some examples that have been done already.
Well,
Yeah.
and,
that's what
uh,
he was gonna do, but he
Yeah.
didn't do it. So maybe next time. All right, so I'll put together,
Oy vey.
Should-
I'll put
should-
together
Should we put in the
something-
minutes that he did not bother to attend?
no. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's.
you try to get that on the town website.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay, so we've discussed that. I'll check in with Joe.
So are we on the second new
We're on the
business?
third one, where it's,
What do we, what
We're
about,
not
what?
having a discussion with Joe because he's not here.
he's not here, so I'm gonna check back
So
with
we're
him.
gonna say Joe Powers did not show up?
Right. Joe Powers was unable to attend.
He stood us up.
Um, Now,
The EEA public hearings,
Yeah.
I tried to come up with an idea and I was incapable. And we need to come up with something because it's October 21st.
what is, we haven't got there yet.
We're talking about a specialized building code.
Let's, okay, so.
I thought that we had moved on.
No, okay, well,
Sorry.
just that one. So the Massachusetts Green bill that just got passed, they have again, they're bumping up the stretch code. Those are building codes, they're every time they do something, they tighten up those codes, they make them more energy
The
efficient.
last time they did this green community, they had a whole big spiel on the state website about what the examples of all this stuff and what the percentage reduction was. Is there anything for this new building code that's similar to what it was?
But we don't know yet because it's so new that,
Well, we can't describe
Nobody
it
knows
to
anything about
anybody
Yeah.
if you can't put some quantitative numbers about
Yeah.
what's the energy reduction percentage, or what are they looking at,
Yeah.
or how?
I mean, you can go on the website and see it. It's all spelled out there. But the problem with the specialized building code is, as part of the green community, we will automatically be subject to the new building codes, because that's part of, when you sign on to the green community, you agree to the stretch codes. But there's yet another level of these stretch codes in the new bill that I think you have to vote on. So I don't.
Is that the town meeting, spring town meeting?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I don't think we have a warrant in there.
So
And it's too
how,
late.
how would we describe it if we
Wait,
don't?
wait, you're talking
For
about
the
the
fall,
spring?
we don't.
No,
oh,
this
for the
is not the
spring, yeah.
special town meeting.
I think I'm gonna have to find some literature on this to give to you guys before we can discuss this intelligently, because,
Are we responsible for doing the article?
yeah, we have to give them something,
Something,
you know,
okay.
so, I mean, they wordsmith it.
So,
and make
so
it,
we need to
you know.
find out more information
Yeah,
about
I'll get
it.
more information about that. I think as far as the regular stretch code, we're already included in that because we are a green community. But if we wanted to be even, and so, for example, I'll give you an example. On the special code, it would prohibit fossil fuels being installed in any new construction. So if you were building a new house, you would not be able to put in a
The
gas
furnace.
or an oil-fired heating system. It would have to be a heat pump. You would not be able to put a gas stove in. It would have to be conduction or some other electric stove. That's just one of the components of this quote-unquote special thing. So,
Do you know why they call it a stretch code?
because you're stretching
The current
limit.
one.
You know, you're taking the current building codes and you're making them a little more stringent.
Ah,
Is this for,
Thank you.
is this for, what do you call it, remodeling, or is this for new construction?
I think
Maybe
it's new
both.
construction, but I think on the updated stretch code, not
I'm
the
just- this
special one.
specialized building code, is that
Yeah,
for new
that's for
construction?
new. But I think on the regular one, and I'd have to look it up again, I think on the regular stretch code, for which we would be subject because we're a green community, I think that, remember, I know you might remember, when we were promoting it, we kept telling people, don't worry, this doesn't include remodels and things like that, it only applies to new construction.
right.
Well, now it applies to everything,
This new thing?
not the special one, just the updated stretch code.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's two levels of, but we need more information on that.
Okay.
I mean, if they really want to make this work, they just ban the sale of any gas-fired appliance, so people are forced to buy electric.
There are some towns that are doing that.
Well, it's
So-
like the
And
water
then they
bottle ban.
couldn't even buy it if they have a remodel and they're trying to get a new stove, they
So
gotta buy.
I'll get a copy of that for us to look at next time, so we can see whether it's something we would want to promote. I think the one thing that I have, that, and are you new to Harwich, relatively new to Harwich? Okay. Harwich tends to be a very conservative, in the big picture, somewhat conservative town. And
Yeah.
they're very conservative with their money. And they elect selectmen who are very fiscally conservative, all right? And so when they look at anything, the very first thing that they look at is the bottom line. You know, what's this gonna cost? And at this moment in time, and I'm not to say that people can't change, at this moment in time, I don't get the feeling from many of the selectmen that they're particularly swayed by the climate crisis. You know, they're not
They're not.
feeling the crisis.
No,
So
that's
at
so
this
true.
moment in time, so we just have to keep that in the back of our minds.
Need a few
that-
more hurricanes
Yeah.
down in Florida there.
Thank God we don't live down there.
Yeah.
Let's hope we're not going to get one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the tornado was enough.
So clean energy, what is this, public hearings on clean energy?
That's the thing that, you got that announcement from the state.
Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs.
Oh, yeah,
Is
okay.
developing the Clean Energy and Climate Plan for 2050. that will help the Commonwealth achieve net zero greenhouse gas. So they want to hear from us.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to say something, but I'm incapable. It's too ambitious.
Right.
Including statewide emissions limit, emissions sub-limits for specific sectors, goals for natural and working lands, and strategies to achieve this emissions limit, sub-limits and goals. And the
Can you-
deadline is
can you-
October 21st.
Can you forward that to the rest of us?
Sure.
We might have gotten it, but
We all-
it's
we all got- Yeah,
it's lost in my email.
I thought I printed out a copy, but I
Yeah,
probably
so
didn't.
just forward that to the rest of us so we can look
Sure.
at it. We'll come back to that. I
Yeah,
think it's just
I'd like to
something you
see
just
that.
go online and you say something.
Yeah,
Um,
and sometimes if I don't print, it gets lost.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
And then we've already discussed solar panels on roofs.
So
at
what,
Brookston.
what's the discussions? She's gonna just forward this thing?
Yeah, we're gonna table the discussion here. She's gonna forward that to us for us to read on our own, so that if we wanna bring it up next meeting, we'll.
If I don't
Well-
find it, I'll take a picture with my phone
Oh,
and
sure,
send it
yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even if we
but-
just have the website, we
But
can.
next meeting it will be after the hearing.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like it's that critical for us to respond to this.
Well, okay.
Jacqueline wants to respond.
If Jacqueline, if you wanna respond as an individual,
Yeah, well,
Go
I
for it.
said I couldn't find, it's too ambitious for me. I don't have the,
Then don't do it.
yeah, it's not mandatory.
yeah.
Don't worry about
I
it.
know it's not mandatory.
Yeah, if you wanna look at it, fine, you can report back, don't feel obligated. Clay Blight Compact looks out for us in that sense, in sort of the big, they go to tons of hearings at the DPU and all of that, and they are
So
constantly.
they will represent us.
Yeah, they're constantly, doing these things.
Mm.
Our lawyer bills are very high. All right,
And we already talked about it.
yeah, we already talked about that, so I'm just gonna open it up. I don't want to belabor the electric vehicle thing at this moment because we don't have Joe here. So, and I know
Okay.
Charlie's chomping at the bit here for it, but
Okay.
I don't want to, you're preaching to the choir here. We already know the benefits and all of that. We just need to get our hands on what they want us to do. They need to do part of it because some of it is town oriented. They need to put in numbers and things like that.
They have to plan for the next couple of years of budgeting, because I've tried to order a hybrid vehicle, and they tell me it's 8 months delivery, so
Yeah, yeah.
you can't even get one this year if you try
Right,
to.
and
you
then
gotta
we're
keep-
probably
And
not-
if you're lucky, if you can get one next year, so if they don't plan it right now for
Yeah.
what they're gonna do 2 years in the future,
Right.
then it'll never happen, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and that's,
Okay.
we'll consider.
And the other thing, though, is, and I'm going back to the last time Julie was here, when she talked about the grants for charging stations. And we haven't gotten any information about that.
I said that all to Joe again,
Okay, because
so-
we missed
Yeah.
the last cycle. When is the cutoff?
They haven't published the next cutoff.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good news.
Yeah,
That's good
yeah.
news.
But
So
it
that
might
we
be
didn't-
tomorrow and we
No,
miss
it
the
won't be, it'll be
train.
in the
No, it won't
spring
be
sometime.
tomorrow.
It'll be in the spring sometime.
Well, I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah.
But
we
it would
could
be,
miss it.
it would be great if and when we do that application, if we could even just get some input from Cindy Williams in terms
Oh, yeah,
of.
I plan on hooking her
Okay,
in, yeah,
okay.
because she was very interested in the whole thing.
Well,
And
yeah.
she even
because
offered to write the grant, so if
Oh
we
my
look at it
God.
and we
Who
see
is
that it's,
Cindy Williams?
She's the,
she is the director of the, Chamber of Commerce.
chamber, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
You know,
terrific. That's
Yeah.
what we need.
She's
someone
always,
so-
she's always at the selectmen's meeting.
So, if we get this, if we look at it and we say, oh, we can't do this, Cindy's will help.
She has the energy of 10 people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so, question for all of you. Do you prefer afternoon meetings or do you prefer evening meetings?
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Afternoon,
Yeah, this is,
doesn't matter?
this
Okay.
is downtown.
Yeah,
for me.
so
I am-
starting next month, I'm great with afternoon meetings then.
The whole purpose of having this in the evening was to have Joe Powers here and didn't show up,
Course.
so it
Of
didn't
course.
do any
But here's
good.
the thing, the next meeting, if we have it at our regular 3:00 time, I could just walk downstairs and get him,
Yes,
so.
yes. That's a good point.
So okay, who has a calendar in front of them?
I do. Okay, so we usually.
Oh,
meet-
also the town is bugging me, because they say we have to pick a day and stick with it. Because they want to say, oh, this committee meets every third Thursday or something like that, you know, so let's see if we can.
Blame it on Joe.
I know.
It's Joe's fault.
I know.
Well,
Well, we can say that we are going to
I
make
tried to
this.
meet on the 13th or so, and there was 2 other committees that,
Oh, I'm not blaming you. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
no, no,
that,
no.
I'm just saying that they, the town
you ought to
kinda
sign up,
wants.
go down there in that
Okay.
hand
Yeah.
sign up and sign up for the next 6 months.
Second Thursday of November is the 10th.
Is that's not election day, is it?
No.
That's a Tuesday. That's a Tuesday.
Election is the 8th,
Yeah, okay, so second Tuesday of November,
is the 10th.
Tuesday, November 10.
And why don't we go back to our regular time?
Yeah, 3 o'clock. No,
And then you
yeah,
can
yeah,
snag
yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, and we'll meet at 3 PM. And we'll try to get this room, and Charlie has to be absolved of that responsibility because he's leaving. So I will,
Well,
come,
I'm not leaving permanently,
you're going back to.
I'm gonna be
North
still
Carolina.
attending the meetings
But
by
just
phone,
virtually,
but,
yeah.
but I won't be here physically.
Right. But I mean, I have to, some of us will have to go and sign up for the room, Charlie can't do that over the phone.
They
you
won't,
know.
they won't let me call up that administrator, secretary, and say, could you sign up the room for me? I have to drive down there, and then I find out
ridiculous.
that there's 2 other committees signed up for that particular time, so they go back home and
Who's-
report to
who's
everybody
that? Is that Ellen?
that the
It-
meeting is
no,
not available, we gotta switch
they-
the date, they come up with a new date, then drive back down there to
Okay.
sign up again.
Okay,
We
okay.
feel for you, Charlie.
Chill.
Yeah. All right,
Who
so
is
I
this?
this is
commiserate with
what
you.
you
It
do.
shouldn't be like that.
For those, just in
I've
case I
told
ask.
her, if I was setting up this in management at GE, we would have a computer program, which we used to do for meeting rooms, and we could
Yeah.
do it online and set up and see, you would know who was signed up for it, whatever it was.
This is Harwich, though.
Yeah.
And they,
Conservative.
Yeah. So anyway,
Conservative or inefficient?
for the rest of you who haven't done it, so one of us will have to, during normal business hours, will go into the selectman's office, and to the left is a bench, like a big table type thing, and there's a paper calendar on there, and a little cup of colored markers. And each color marker represents a room. So make sure you get the right color for the small meeting room. And then you take your special colored marker and you go to the date on the calendar and you write Harwich Energy Committee. And you put
Can you do it several months ahead?
that's what I'm suggesting, is if you do it
You
several
probably
months.
can, and if we just, okay, what's the second Tuesday in December?
Second Tuesday?
Thursday, excuse me,
Thursday.
second Thursday in December.
Is.
Just don't make it on Christmas Eve, that's all.
Is the Thursday is looks like the 8th.
Tuesday, December 8th?
Thursday, December
Wait,
8th.
how do I keep putting Thursday?
I don't know.
Thursday,
Second-
December.
What was it, November, what was the November one?
10th.
10th,
And the
And
December one?
December is 8th,
8th.
second Thursday. So, yeah, we could sign up for both of those at the same time. You just flip the calendar.
But you need to assign somebody to do that,
Yeah.
that's all.
Well, I'm gonna be,
Anywhere near the town hall.
well, no, I'm gonna be at the community center, but I'm gonna be walking over to the library, which is right across the street.
True.
So on my
Yeah,
way
yeah.
to the library,
Yeah.
I can stop
Yeah,
there.
so you just go in that room, over on the left, on the counter, you'll see that.
Okay, and if I
Calendar.
can't find a room, somebody will tell me where it is.
It's the town administrator's room.
Oh,
Yeah,
where
right
Joe
there.
is.
Yeah, right in
Okay.
there, right in the lobby
Right,
area.
exactly there.
So do November and December,
Fine.
and they're both at 3 p.m. And meeting is adjourned, Charlie, at 8:50.
No,
7:50.
Keep doing that.